Hi Bateman families, Miss Tambone here. I hope you guys are at home, healthy and safe. I thought it would be such a phenomenal idea to show you one of my favorite art projects to do at home with some really simple materials. Today I'm going to show you how to create this really cool watercolor painting using a tape resist and adding salt for texture. All right, are you guys ready? Woohoo! So the first thing that we're gonna need is a white piece of paper. It doesn't matter what size. You also need a set of watercolor, a brush, some water, and salt. If you don't have any salt on hand, you can easily do this project without the salt, but any salt will do. Right now, I just have some sea salt, which is a little coarse, but it should work. One more thing that we're gonna need today is some tape. If you have any type of masking tape hanging around or painter's tape, that should work. I've even tried this with some basic clear Scotch tape. Now, it might not turn out perfectly, but that's okay because this is a process painting. Our next step is to apply the tape onto our paper. The great part about this is where our imagination comes into play. You can add tape wherever you like on the paper. Please just make sure that when you do apply the tape, that you're pressing down on the edges inside these shapes to ensure that when we do add watercolor, that the watercolor doesn't seep through. I have just created a very basic geometric design, but please use your imagination. I've seen some of my students try to write their name or create a message. Go at it. All right, now it's time for us to apply the paint. So there's a very important sequence here. We are going to be adding our watercolor to the page. And as soon as we finish adding watercolor to each shape, we need to have our salt nearby and ready. And I'll explain a little bit more about this in a moment. So the first thing is my paint has definitely not been touched for a while. So I need to wet my brush. And I'm gonna come over here. I'm feeling a little bit of a red purple. So I'm gonna get this red purple ready. Next, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna apply to my first shape. I like to just gently apply the watercolor and let it kind of hang out and soak into the paper on its own. I think that's key. And while the watercolor is still wet, I'm gonna put down my brush. I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna take a little bit, just a pinch of the salt, and I'm gonna apply it and scatter it around the area that is still wet. So it's really important that the watercolor is wet on your paper in order for this salt technique to work. Now, I'm going to continue to apply over here. One thing you'll notice is I do not add the salt until after I've applied the watercolor. That is key. I've seen some of my students, they'll add salt first, but unfortunately, that textural component we will not see if we do it in that in those steps. All right, so I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna kind of mix it up here, add my purple, and I'm just going to quickly and gently apply this watercolor. I'm gonna get a little bit more. It needs a little bit more. Now, while this paint is still wet, I'm gonna quickly take my salt and apply it to the wet paper. Oops, looks like one of my hairs got in there. All right, that's okay. Again, this is a process painting, so it's not supposed to be perfect. So, a lot of you are wondering right now, well, what is the salt going to do? Well, I'm gonna show you one more time. I'm gonna start with my blue. This blue, I'm just really feeling it right now. I'm gonna apply some watercolor to my area. And I'm gonna quickly get that salt ready and I'm gonna drizzle it on. Now, I think I did a much better job here. What happens is the salt starts to absorb some of that pigment. And then in those areas where the salt is, it's going to be a little bit less pigmented, which gives you that sort of textural illusion that we were looking for. Now, if you don't have salt, you can easily play around with your watercolor by, while the watercolor is still wet, I'm gonna go with this green right here. I like to sometimes sort of experiment, and I'll apply a wet on wet technique and see kind of how these watercolors, they sort of interact with each other. So I would like you to please take your time and experiment with the watercolor in each section. You can do different designs. You can just go do a free-for-all and mix the colors together. It's completely up to you. All right. And while this is still wet, I'm going to see if I can apply just a little bit more salt. All right. So now I'm going to do the fast mode, and I'm going to complete this. And while I'm doing this, I hope that you will work on your painting. All right. Woohoo, that was fun. Now it's time to wait. We need to ensure that our watercolor is completely dry before we can take off the tape. So I'll see you guys in maybe 20 to 30 minutes. Check back in, test out, make sure that your paper is dry. Once it's dry, then we can go over how to take off our tape. All right, see you soon. And we are back. So my paint is basically dry. I'm a little bit impatient sometimes, especially when it's time to reveal our painting. We're gonna now take our tape off, but it's so important that you're using two hands. Unfortunately, I only have one hand today because my other hand is holding the phone to record this. So please, please, please make sure that you're doing this gently and slowly, and you're using two hands. One hand to hold down the paper, and then the other hand to actually peel off the tape. This might be a good time to get one of your family members involved, or if you just want to do it on your own, that's awesome too. I'm gonna say one more thing before we get started. It's okay if the tape rips off some of your paper. That's part of this process painting. I think it actually kind of gives it a little bit more character. This is not about perfection, but more about the process of painting with tape and salt. All right, so I'm gonna start off with this piece of tape over here because, well, it's on top of other pieces of tape. And I'm just gonna slowly peel it. Woohoo, look at that. That's really satisfying, I have to say. Look at those nice lines. Woohoo! All right, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna do this one over here. Let's see, because this one's on top of a bunch of others. I'm using my skills with one hand right now. How am I doing? I think I'm doing pretty well. Woohoo! All right, I'm gonna leave you to it. You're gonna keep going, and let's check back in right after we finish taking off the rest of our tape. What do you think is our last step? It looks like we're complete, but I still see one item that needs to be taken care of, and that would be the salt. Now, you're going to gently bring this with two hands over to your trash bin, and you're going to shake off the salt into the trash. There might be some salt left over, but that's certainly okay because that, again, kind of makes this process painting super cool. All right, I'm gonna have you guys go do that, and we will come back for the end. Hi Baven family, I hope you enjoyed today's art tutorial on watercolor, salt, and tape. I don't know about you, but I think this artwork looks phenomenal. I am certainly going to be hanging this up when we get back and putting it in the art room. Now, if you were really digging this art today and you have something to share, please do. We would love to share it with the rest of the Bateman family. I hope you have a phenomenal week. Stay healthy, stay happy, and keep doing some artwork. See you soon. Bye.